You can go again, repeat the process, but in this time round, you want to keep 2 or 3 properties. So you would have bagged in your property investment £174,000. This is how you could build a multi-million-pound property portfolio. Hey guys, it's Rahim. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, smash the subscribe button because I share property investment tips, how to gain financial freedom, and personal development. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can use the 3-2-1 rules to build a great property portfolio, a property portfolio that will worth millions of pounds. You see, when you're starting your property investment journey, you might not have lots of money at the beginning. So at the beginning, you want to be as frugal as you could possibly can whilst you raise income to expedite your property investment journey. So when I start my property investment journey, I didn't have lots of money at the time. I use this 3-2-1 rule, which then helped me expedite my property investment journey. So that's exactly what I'm going to share with you. If you want to learn how to implement the 3-2-1 rule or have an idea of what it is, stay until the end. I will go through everything that you need to know in order to have an insight of the 3-2-1 rule. So before we get to that, let's talk about what is a property investment. What is property investment? Property investment is the process by which an investor would buy a property for the purpose of renting it instead of living in it. In essence, you're buying the property in order to rent it to a normal tenant or to do whatever commercials you want to do in it instead of living in it. And then hopefully that property generates you rental income, which is what we call recurring income, and some people call it passive income. Why do people invest in property? People invest in property because it's a stable and solid type of investment. It's one of the safest industries out there. As I've just said, passive income. It generates recurring income. You buy the property, you rent it, and you receive monthly rental income every single month. And the third thing people invest in property is what we call capital appreciation. In average, property prices goes up by 7 to 15% a year in the past 80 years in the UK. So you're not just getting money from your rental income that you're making, you're also generating capital appreciation. Imagine you got £100,000 property, that property goes up by 10%, you would have also bagged yourself £10,000 every single year whilst collecting your monthly rental income. So these are the key benefits people look into when they're investing in property. So what is the 3-2-1 rule I'm going to be sharing with you today? The 3-2-1 rule is a very solid rule. It's a rule that I love. I've implemented it and it has transformed my life. So what that 3-2-1 rule means is basically going to buy 3 properties, you sell 2, and then you keep the other one. So you repeat the process again. So why do this strategy? You do this strategy if you're one of those who are a bit struggling to raise finance. Why use the 3-2-1 rule? You use the 3-2-1 rule in order to expedite your property investment journey. And at the same time, if you're one of those who are shy to raise money or finding it difficult to go out there and raise money to build your property portfolio, this rule may be suitable for you, because what you're doing, you're buying 3 properties, you're selling 2, you make the profit from those, and then obviously you go and buy another one that you can keep. You repeat the process over and over again. And in essence, you might not run out of money if you know what you're doing, but if you definitely know what you're doing, you will never have to run out of money and you'll be able to build your property portfolio that way. So what I like us to do now is to go onto that board so I can talk you through the process and what figures you need to be looking at in order to start your 3-2-1 rule. Again, just a quick note, thank you so much for supporting me in my channel. The channel is doing absolutely amazing, and we've just done a little bit of research. We realized that 87% of the people that are watching me on YouTube have not smashed that subscribe button. If you are one of those, I encourage you to please smash that subscribe button, because that subscribe button is, once you smash it, you like the video, the Facebook algorithm will push that videos to wider audiences, and then obviously that will then motivate me to do more videos, and I would now also start bringing people into my platform so I can interview them so we can all learn from it. So if you haven't done that, do that right now. Smash that subscribe button. Hit it now. I'm looking at you. Do it now. Do it now. I'm not moving until you do it. I'm not doing anything until you do it. I'm sure you would absolutely do it, and it would help me drastically. And I'm really hoping that what I'm sharing with you is also adding value to you. So let's look at the 3-2-1 rule. Let's get to it. Let's imagine we've got £55,000. I don't care how you raise that money, maybe from friends and family, maybe from savings, maybe from investment you've made. You've got that £55,000 and you really want this £55,000 to make you a millionaire. That is the step-by-step process I'm going to be sharing with you right now. Let's say we've got the 55,000 now. We're going to go into the market and look for properties that are going for £100,000. So when I say looking for a property that going for £100,000, I don't mean you have to go and look for that property that's specifically worth £100,000. So what I do with my investors, basically, we go and look for properties that are worth 110,000, 115,000. Why do we do that? We do that so that we can go into the market, negotiate, and hopefully get the property at £100,000. And what we also do, we don't go for done-up properties that have already done up, nothing to do on. No, we look for properties that we can add value to. What do I mean by properties that we add value to? I'm talking about properties that you can go and renovate, decorate, bring a little bit of modernization to it so you can force the value. Okay, so that's the concept we're going to be looking at when we are working on investing in properties. Let's say now we saw this property, it looks an amazing property, it was £115,000. We negotiated and we're able to close that deal at, guess what, £100,000. Let's say we purchased that property price. Let's say it was £100,000. Okay. Let's say it was £100,000. Okay. £100,000. That's the purchase price. So in order for us to buy this property at £100,000, we need to put a deposit of 25%. Okay, 25% of £100,000. You guessed that right, is £25,000. So £25,000 is what we need to put down in order for the bank to lend us the 75%. Let's assume now legal cost and all the other stuff that goes with it, plus, let's say that's about £5,000. Okay, £5,000 is how much it would cost us to kind of get all the legals done and all that sort of thing. Okay, suppose now we've bought that property. It's a property that requires to do a bit of renovation. Let's say our refurb cost is £25,000. Okay, so at this point our initial investment is 25,000 plus 5,000 and plus the £25,000. That gives us the £55,000, which is our initial investment. So we've bought the property, we've renovated it, and we've invested the £25,000, and that has now become the £55,000 is now our initial investment to get the property to the standard we want to. So bearing in mind, the first property we are buying, which is this one here, would be property that we're intending to sell. We're not keeping it at this point, because if you remember, the 55,000 is what we want to play around so we can make a bit of profit on it, so we can go again buy another property. Is that making sense? So we've got that £55,000 investment. Fast forward, we've done all the property now. Everything looks absolutely amazing. So we put that property now on the market for £160,000. Okay, £160,000 is how much we have put the property on the market. Okay, so now we've got the sale price. So now we want to deduct the amount of money we have already spent to get the property to where it is at £160,000. Let's say our initial investment, which we already know, was how much? £55,000. So our initial investment is £55,000. Okay, and then obviously we got costs that involve. This could be your holding cost, your agency fees, your whatever cost to keep that property going until you sell it. That would be an estimate about £5,000. Obviously, if you know what you're doing, £5,000 is more than enough to keep the property going until you sell the property. And then obviously, because we borrowed the £100,000 when we bought the property, so we owe the bank 75% of the £100,000. So that is the loan. Okay, so we need to pay this loan back. That loan is £75,000. Okay, £75,000. So £75,000 is what we've borrowed from the bank. Okay, so what we now want to do is to work out what our net profit is. Okay, net profit. our net profit is the 160,000 minus the 55,000 minus the 5,000 and minus the 75,000, which is the initial loan we took when we bought the property. That then gives us a net profit of £25,000. Okay, so we've got this £25,000. This is our first property, assuming that you've done everything right. It came back at £160,000 and £25,000. You may be thinking £25,000 is a lot when it comes to profit. Yes, it is if you're doing other businesses, but in the property world, this is the minimum you need to be looking at. If you're not making £20,000 to £25,000 per property deal that you're flipping, it's not worth your time. So you'd rather maybe look for something else, because sometimes it will take you 2 to 3 months, sometimes 4 months, in order to get the property to be sold, to be renovated and to be sold. So £25,000 is a reasonable amount of money to make from selling a property. So what you now want to do at this point is to replicate this process by 2. So when you replicate that process by 2, that's where the magic starts to happen. So if you've got this twice, so if you times that 25,000 by 2, how much would you have made that profit? You would have made how much? £50,000. So £50,000 is what you would have made as net profit doing this twice. That's the 2 property you've bought. Okay. So now the final property, remember it's 3, 2, 1. You've bought 2 now, you're gonna buy the 3rd one, okay? So the 3rd property you would be buying, instead of selling it, we're keeping this property. Bear in mind here, you've started with 55,000, right? And now you've got another profit of £50,000, okay? So that then gives you £105,000 in your coffers, okay? So you've got £105,000 in your coffers. It doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna go and invest all that money. Let's just assume we're gonna use the same process again. We only wanna use £55,000, okay? £55,000 in your first property, okay? So what you now wanna do at that point is to go back in the market, look for another property to buy, but this time round, the intention is to keep the property. Is this making sense? So when you're buying a property to fix up and do up, right, you want to be very, very frugal, and you want to be very tight when it comes to the money, and you want to be negotiating very, very hard at this point as well, because obviously you're looking to remortgage the property and then hopefully then get a bit of money out of it. So in this instance then, we saw a £100,000 property, we negotiated and we were able to buy that property for £80,000. So price for the property that we're keeping, we've already got to, is £80,000. Okay. From the £80,000, we got a deposit to pay. How much the deposit is? You got it right, £20,000. Okay, £20,000 is deposit we've put down, and then we've got our legal, £5,000. Okay, and we have renovation. That would be £20,000. Okay, so now you can see the intent here. Because we're keeping the property here, we don't want to go AWOL. We want to stick to £20,000. So what you want to do at this point, you know your £20,000, £5,000 and £20,000. So your initial investment in this deal is £45,000. So now you know you've already got £55,000 here. So you've only spent £45,000. So you've got £10,000 plus your £50,000. Okay? So what you then do at this point, you've done all that work. Fast forward to finishing all the works, everything goes the way you plan, right? You then move on to that. You're going to do something that we call remortgage. Suppose then the property has gone up in value based on the work we've done. So your fair market value would be perhaps £150,000, okay? £150,000 is what the property has come back at. So at £150,000, the bank will lend you 75% of that £150,000, okay? The bank will lend you the 75%. 75% of the £150,000 is £112,000, okay? £112,000 is what the bank is going to lend us. So the bank would have lent us the 75% of the £150,000. So what we do at that point is to pay the existing loan. Existing loan was £60,000, which is the 75% of the £80,000. Okay, so at that point, because we were paying interest from this loan and any of administration charge, let's just estimate that to be about maybe £7,500. Okay, £7,500 is what we've been paying interest for the loan and any administration charges. Okay, and now we have our refurb cost. Our refurb cost is our initial investment. If you remember, the initial investment was how much? £45,000. Okay, £45,000 was the initial investment. So what happens then, once you've received that money, the solicitors will deduct the existing loan first and pay that to your lender, because obviously they are obliged to pay your lender first before they can pay you the remaining balance. So if you take 60,000 out of the 12,000 plus 7,500 and 45,000 pounds, that would have meant you would have literally used all the money you've had and you were able to pay yourself back all the initial investment, which was the 45,000 pounds we initially investment. So, which is the 45,000 pounds we initially invested in order to start holding our property. So at this point, three things has happened. You've bought 3 properties, you've sold 2 to make the 55,000 pounds, and now you've got another property that you've held, you've done the works, you've renovated it, and you've pulled out all your initial investment. So at this stage, you still have your 55,000 pounds and your 50,000 pounds profit. If you remember this profit figure, so you still have that money. So at this point now, the compounding works really, really well for you. You may do this in your first year. This might take you a year in your beginning, but at end of year 1, you've got 105,000 pounds to play with. Okay, 105,000 pounds. With that 105,000 pounds, you can go again, repeat the process, but in this time round, you want to keep 2 or 3 properties because you've got enough money here to go around. Because now you know you can use that 100,000 pounds to go and buy yourself 2 more properties. Okay, plus the profit you would have already got from flipping maybe a couple of properties as well. So imagine then you flipped about, let's say 6 properties. Right? 6 properties, and each of those properties generate you 25,000 pounds profit. That would have been 150,000 pounds. Okay, so 150,000 pounds profit. Suppose you did that in the past 2 years, and then obviously you're able to keep 4 more properties. Right? Let's say each of those properties also generate about 500 pounds net profit every single month. So those 4 properties would have generated you 2,000 pounds per calendar month. If you times that by 12, you're talking about 24,000 pounds. So if you add this amount plus that amount, how much you're talking about? So you would have bagged in your property investment 174,000 pounds. This is how you could build a multi-million pound property portfolio and you would never run out of money implementing this. Here's the thing, if you start looking at these kind of things, you don't want to compete with anybody else. You only compete with yourself. As long as you're doing better today than you did yesterday and you're progressing and you're getting to where you want to go, that's what you're going to concern about. You take your time, take your pace, and most importantly, get someone to guide you through the process, educate you, coach you to ensure you do a minimum mistakes while generating handsome return on investment. Wouldn't that be beautiful for you? Wouldn't that be putting you in a situation where you never have to worry to working for someone if you don't like the person that you're working for? Alternatively, it could be a way where your work becomes an option instead of an obligation. I really hope this video has been helpful. If this video has been helpful, smash the like button below, subscribe to my channel for more amazing tutorials. I look forward to sharing the next video.